Since my 600 video, I have I've been showered with respect and adoration and empathy and things of that nature, and I'm 100% okay with that. I'm 100% love, like I love that I'm not the only person who's going through this and people understand the situation. But it is a little weird that like people have been going into my other videos and just basically been like talking about what's going on in that video. Like if I were to make a video about a blueberry pie, somebody's gonna be like, "Have you ever thought about cooking for more money?" You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, please talk about blueberry pie. That's what the video's about. Um, but I wanted to address. Obviously, I wanted to address the negative comments I've been getting that I've been having to get rid of because I tell you these folks, they just really want to be in your face and they really want to annoy you as much as possible, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? And but like the very I want to say, to summarize all of the negative comments I've been getting, it has been going up to get a better job and stop whining. And I wanted to take this time to acknowledge how toxic masculinity has kind of ruined being a dude. Bing ding 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 ding. Title, screen, picture, and go. Um, Obviously, if I was an editor, I probably would have done something like that. Or like I said, editing software is expensive, so that's kind of why they're unedited right now. But yeah, this is a. But the whole thing is that like I wanted to take this time to address toxic masculinity because like quit whining and do better. It's basically just like it's like as I've said multiple times, we're always trying to seek out like simple answers to complex problems. Is like, and the problem is that like it's never that simple. You know what I mean? For example, get a better job. People really ignore the fact that in order to get the better job, you have to get hired. You take away the possibility of me applying for jobs and just assume that I'm not getting hired and that's my fault, right? And and same thing with get better. You know what I'm saying? Once again, simple answer, complex problem. What do you mean by get better? Like this is toxic. This, in my opinion, is a result of toxic masculinity. Man, what? You eat toxic masculinity? First of all, toxic masculinity ain't even real. It's all masculinity. You are stupid. I don't like you. Calm down, you big baby. Calm down. Quit being so emotional. But seriously though, like as I've said before, like men's emotions are dangerous. That's the reason why men don't call it emotions. They call it logic. You know what I mean? Like but like the problem is that like emotions is not different from logic. Being emotional is not different from being logical. Logic is simply just acknowledging that something exists. Emotion is being able to convey your connection to that thing that exists. For example, if you went your entire life like looking at pictures of water, right? But never exactly like splashing it or like swimming in it or drinking it. You've never really, but you are smart enough to know that you look at a picture of water, you know that that's water. So you see water and you're like, that's water. You know what I'm saying? And then one day somebody pushes you in. Now you have an emotional connection to that water. You have sensory connection to that water. You know what it feels like. You know what it tastes like. You know what happens when you splash. You know what I'm saying. And being able to convey that connection between you and water is emotion. You know what I'm saying? Because emotion is basically the chains that link up logic to you as a person. Because everybody conveys information differently. You know what I'm saying? No, actually, that's what logic is. Okay, buddy. Sure, pal. Um, but but it's like the problem is that like, and men don't, like I said, men don't call it emotion, but like they get for like if you get angry about something, you're emotionally connected to it in a way, but you can't just say I'm not angry about it. You know what I'm saying? But you are, bro. Don't calm down. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have emotions. It's a normal thing, but with men, we're taught that having emotions is womanly, which is stupid, right? Let's just assigning gender to things is really stupid, and that's one part of toxic masculinity that I feel like we've managed to like just we got down to a science now. Toxic masculinity is also a result of just being socially pressured. Like, if you really think about it, like I said, I talk a lot about masculinity and being a man on here on this thing a lot. I probably might do a whole playlist dedicated to it at some point, because I don't like the idea of alpha male dude, bro. I'm a big man and you suck. If your life isn't the way you want it to be, it's because you suck as a person. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that approach, but but I do empathize with it, and I understand why this is happening. You have to really take into consideration, I've said this multiple times before, from birth. Like, when you are a kid growing up, I remember being a kid and like being taught that being a man meant something. Being a man meant that you had to sort of approach things from a certain perspective, and if you didn't, you just weren't a man, or weren't a real man. Like, being a man meant you had to be a real man. And the problem is that, like, being a real man back in those days was actually said to be somebody who is a thinker, somebody who is a progressive, forward thinking person who is just trying to actively solving problems using quite possibly the best method, using their own perspective to solve a problem. You know what I mean? And like, they're able to read a situation and fix whatever is broken. And sometimes they do it silently because of modesty or whatever, right? That was what it was said to be. But the problem is that, like, what it was being pushed as being was being a buff white guy with a gun and money and a lot of women. Being a buff white guy with a gun, money, and a lot of women. That was what it was being pushed as. That was what the image was for being masculine, or being a man, or being a real man. Like, it's basically being a lumberjack, who is being a white guy who's confident about being shirtless in public. And I can't stress enough, the white guy part is important. You know what I'm saying? As time went by, obviously diversity hit, so they said, now it's being a buff black guy with a whole bunch of women and a cigar hanging out of your mouth and a gun, and also you command everybody. You're the guy in charge and you scream at everybody to get what you want. You know what I'm saying? These were things that was being pushed as masculine back when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Also, a thick mustache, like, which I really think is heavy, which I think is hilarious, because now you think of a thick mustache, you think of like sex stuff, and I always found that to be kind of hilarious. But when you're growing up, you're taught that is what you're going to grow up to become, simply because you was born male. You're taught that that's going to be the life that you're going to have, simply because you were born male. And if you don't get that, then you're not a real man. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the kind of social pressure that you're basically being told as a kid. You're told that you're going to get a girlfriend when you become a teenager because women want you. You're not told that women will say no and reject you at some point. You're told that if you like a woman, that woman immediately likes you back, and you and her are going to be together forever and all this other stuff. You're told that if you go into, like, one of the greatest lies I think I was ever told as a kid was, if you hang out at a place of business long enough, then at some point the business owner is going to take a liking to you and hire you on a spot to work there. That was like one of the biggest things. It was like, hey kid, you need an extra few dollars? You know what I'm saying? It's like going, I'm just seeing you around the store, moving things around and fixing up on stuff. How would you like to have a job here? You know what I'm saying? That was a thing that I was shown as a kid that I thought could happen in real life. I remember there was a store literally across the street from my school that I could literally just walk to. And I just kept thinking to myself, if I just hang out over there, move some stuff around, fix up on certain things, the guy who's in charge is going to notice and then hire me. I was in elementary school, bro. Wow. I was also taught that, lemonade stands were a real thing, though. And, little kids could, like, make money just going door to door and asking people to do things. When in reality, if a little black kid knocking on people's doors, asking them if they could do jobs for them, that's like the quickest way to get kidnapped. Or just told to get off my property before I have you shot, little N-word. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, these were... because it's Baton Rouge, Louisiana, too. Like, this is Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is like the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, there's that. But it was just basically like, but the thing is that, like, the image that you're taught when it comes to being, when the image that you're taught is that being a man means you're a forward thinker and you have like all of this awesomeness and you're chiseled and ripped to the gills and you have a whole bunch of money. You have nowadays is you have all that plus you have a massive beard, right? Like you have this big beard and there's always a cigar. I don't understand I don't understand the whole thing about a cigar. It's like imagine being like trained to be homophobic but also having something phallic shape hanging out of your mouth just because it's a symbol of manliness. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing is that toxic masculinity, it became less about what you did and more about how you presented yourself and how you looked. There was an image that goes along with it. And the problem is that like there's people out there who have gotten just completely brainwashed into thinking that that's what being a man is, that like now that's all they think being a man is. It's just a loudmouth with guns and money and a whole bunch of women, and you're just annoying as hell to like everybody that you encounter because you take charge whenever you walk into a room. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You're taught that you're taught that failure is impossible because everything is going to work out in your favor as long as you want it bad enough, and that's where the entitlement comes in. And I just think that that's kind of like really weird because, like, that's not what being a dude is at all. Being a dude is not that different from being a lady. We all go through hardships. We all go through issues. Like once again, the moment that you assign gender to everything, like when it comes to women, obviously the narrative for women is also being told by men. So it's like, well, your job is cooking, cleaning. You ever seen that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog where Muriel loses her memory and Eustace is telling her, your job is cooking, cleaning, something, and anything else I can think of. You know what I'm saying? That was a edit to that clip, and I really wish I knew how to edit, and copyrights probably wouldn't take that clip away. But the fact of the matter is that like that was kind of what was being pushed back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you're a man, like then as time went by, I think the funniest thing was that like, when you're a man also, like you're the epitome of perfection and you're ripped and you got a gun and you have a whole bunch of money and you're strong and you're badass and you're loud and everybody likes you because you're loud and everybody likes you because like they don't think you're annoying. They think you're manly and awesome and rah. You know what I'm saying? But also you need a wife that's going to take care of you, clean after you, and cook for you. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not married, then you're going to starve to death in your own filth. This is the stuff that makes sense to men. It's like everything, like we need, like, and if we don't get married, we're going to starve to death in our own filth. But we're also these perfect, superior beings who are capable of doing everything except apparently cleaning up after ourselves and cooking. I don't understand how this stuff and the sad part is that like these were things that was like universally accepted in man culture, and it's like and then there's this whole thing is like going also if you don't have any of these, you're not a real man. Being a real man actually has rules and things that you have to apply, you have to abide by in order to, like, there's man rules and man laws and things like that, masculinity laws, which, by the way, masculinity and femininity, I don't believe those are real things because I believe that these are just made up to, like, sell clothes or sell things or whatever. Like, use gender to sell things because, like, nobody's going to buy this stuff if they think it's for women, and nobody's going to buy this stuff if they think that it's for men. But men will buy it and pay double for it so they can show how much more manly they are. It's just a selling tactic. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in masculinity and femininity. Well, if you don't believe in that, then why don't you go outside in a dress and makeup then? Because dresses and makeup is expensive, and that's not my style, man. I like wearing pants and a shirt. I don't know. But the whole idea though is that like there's the problem is being a man in this day and age is basically being told to grin and bear it. You have to grit your teeth and just let everybody just kind of like just take shots at you. But if you as much as get upset about all those shots that you're being given and all those shots you have to take, then you're a woman and you're a coward and you're a baby and everything is actually going fine and you just need to do better. You. You know what I'm saying? It's all this pressure. Being a man means being pressured all the time. And the problem is that like not everybody gets stronger under pressure. Some people crack. Some people get crushed. Some people like need the help. And the problem is that like the people who are presenting the pressure are also being pressured. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like we're not men, we're not okay. And the problem, and I feel like we need to sort of be honest with ourselves and accept the fact that we're not okay, and just say we're not okay and ask for help, and ask for, you know, like I say, ask for tenderness, not just from women, because if a woman rejects that tenderness from you, you're going to get angry. Ask for it from another guy. And I'm not talking about sex tenderness, okay? I'm talking about just like it's like, you know, the whole manosphere is just a group of guys at the end of the day who is just they're hung up on this idea of what they think masculinity is, and they also need somebody around to just sort of like tell them, yeah, dude, yeah, it's exactly like that. It's, you know, like they need somebody to tell them that everything is going to be okay despite all their grievances, and we all need that. They found it within themselves. The only problem is that they found it within themselves while also sharing the worst ideology possible. If there was a way to challenge the manosphere, I would say like, you know, just sort of just basically point out that misogyny and mistreating people and thinking that everything is fine, and like, because like, you know, we tend to, as men, we're told to ignore the external factors that is responsible for things that happen to us. We're told to look at everything from an internal perspective. Like everything, like we're in control of our own destiny, and it's like, you know, you're never taught, like, you know, like for example, when a guy gets rejected by a woman, right? One of the few things that they do, they never even acknowledge the rejection. They never acknowledge the rejection. You know what I'm saying? Like to put this in perspective, if a guy gets rejected 5 times but don't get rejected once, it was a good night. You know what I mean? Like they'll say, yeah, man, I got a girl. You know what I mean? They're not going to tell you about the times that they got rejected. They're not going to tell you about the times they got shot down. They're not going to tell you about all the bad stuff that happened to them that was outside of their control, because to them, those moments never happened. They work their own reality to basically just say, actually, no, everything is fine and everything is fine, nothing is going wrong, and, you know, like we don't, you know, like everything is fine, nothing is wrong, and we're in control of our own destiny, and everything is great because we made everything great on our own with absolutely no help from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine going through your entire life telling yourself that. Imagine going through years and years of conditioning your brain to tell yourself that. Then that just makes it easier for anybody to screw you over. That just makes it easier for anybody to hurt you, because you're not going to even acknowledge that you got hurt. You're normalizing pain, and you're normalizing external pain by basically saying, no, internally I'm doing great. You're not. Denial doesn't help things. Ignoring things don't help things. If we can't acknowledge what's hurting us and what's upsetting us and what's making us frustrated and what's doing things to harm us, if we can't acknowledge that outside of, well, it be these women half the time. You know what I'm saying? If you can't acknowledge what is hurting you, then you can't solve the problem. Me personally, I've been told all the time that I'm a lady, that I'm like, you know, I'm a weakling, I'm the N-word, all this other stuff. I can handle, like, you know, my whole thing is that I can acknowledge that people say these things about me. I can acknowledge that people have done me wrong. I can acknowledge that I've had problems and I have messed up, but I can also acknowledge that because I'm just glad to survive it. The other dudes can't even acknowledge that a girl called them ugly once. You know what I'm saying? I mean, granted, I'm not in the best position of my life, but there's guys out here who's like, I'm a millionaire and I'm successful and everything is going my way because I made it happen and I'm perfect and I'm awesome and nothing bad happens to me and I have no issues and I have no problems. It's like, does that sound like somebody who's happy to you? Does that sound like somebody who got it all together? I'm not saying that I got it all together, and I will never say I got it all together because I ain't got it all together. But what I don't want to do is suffer in silence. I don't want to hide my pain. I want people to know that I'm a real person who's capable of going through pain. I'm a real human being. Just because I'm a black dude doesn't necessarily mean that I don't suffer. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm a black dude doesn't mean I'm tough and strong and got my chest puffed out and everything is going my way because I made it happen. No, I'm a black dude. I'm pretty sure all I have to do is walk outside the wrong day and I'm gonna get shot. And that's gonna be it. Well, dude, don't say that, bro. Don't say that, bro. I got to. That's what America is right now. If we keep ignoring this stuff, it's only if we don't bring awareness to this stuff, then we're just accepting it. And I don't want to accept it. That's why I complain so much. Because there's so many things that I truly 100% believe can be fixed about this country, can be fixed about this planet, can be fixed in general. We have problems that are so easy to solve that all we have to do is just start talking about them. I shouldn't be the only person here complaining about my job not paying me enough to survive. We all go through it. There's comments on that video where other people have said, I'm going through the same thing. Make your video then. Make your video and tell people what's going on. This is a relatable issue. Everybody's going through it. That's what I'm saying though, is that like toxic masculinity has made it so that we can't be vulnerable and we can't accept the fact that we're going through things. We have to just be okay with it. We have to just grit our teeth and just take it. And I don't want to take it. I shouldn't have to take it. Life shouldn't have to suck just because I exist in the wrong time frame or in the wrong country. Life shouldn't have to suck, period. It shouldn't. Life just shouldn't have to suck. And toxic masculinity is basically saying, nah, man, life is gonna be life, whatever it is. And all you have to do is just grit your teeth, take it, and say, it is what it is. No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to say it is what it is. I don't want to just be like, I don't want to just be like, oh, well, everything sucks and it's all my fault. No. I don't want to do that. Because a lot of these problems that I'm going through ain't my fault. Me not getting paid enough at my job is not my fault. That's the fault of corporations. Me not being able to afford this apartment isn't my fault. That's the fault of price gougers. Me going through the stuff that I'm going through isn't all my fault. Granted, I did put myself into these situations, but if there's no other situation out there for me to get into, once again, I can't just get a better job because I have to get hired. Is it my fault that I didn't get hired? Yes, it is. How do you know? Were you at the interview? All I'm saying is that, in my opinion, I can't follow the toxic masculinity scale of everything is my fault. Everything has to be bad so I can just sort of tough it out and I should just ignore all of my suffering. I can't do these things. I would much rather just be a dude who just is a dude. I don't understand that. There's dudes out here, you're a girl then. Okay, let me see if I got this right. Because if I say I'm a girl, you're going to have a problem with it. Y'all know what y'all are doing. You can't say you're not a man. And then when somebody you think is a guy say they're not a man, you just be like, you're not supposed to agree with that. You're supposed to get angry and then do masculine stuff. You know what I'm saying? The whole idea about being an alpha male nowadays is just basically agreeing with 2 points that disagree with each other and calling yourself smart for finding a way to combine the two together. It's like call men you don't like women, but don't like men that call themselves women. But somehow you manage to mix those together. Alpha males. Toxic masculinity isn't a flex, guys. Do better. Y'all be easy.